we go. I'm gonna do an introduction because I'm so excited. Um, Hey everyone, I have a very, very special guest today that I am so excited about. And I was a fangirl, and I credit him to making me want to play All Stars. And I feel like I completed a full Evony circle going from watching King Singh's YouTube to getting the pleasure of now interviewing him on my channel. So if you have not seen his YouTube videos, check out the comments for the links, but I'm sure you all have. And you can really see just really one of the best of Evony. So here we go. The first question I have for you is how did you come up with your name, King Singh?
Yeah. Hey, King Singh. So there's like this old adage with my last name. It's kind of a common last name where people say Singh is king. And this literally is like a movie about it, a song about it, and everything. And it just kind of goes well together. But I don't know. I just felt like it fit the genre of the game. King Singh, the whole medieval thing, and yeah, I just liked it. It also felt a little empowering to be, king something. So yeah, it's playing the role, and that's kind of how I came up with it.
For sure, for sure. So, are you back to playing RSP full time, and what was your time off like from Evony? So it's like a two-part question.
Yeah, good question. So I am back full time, but not like I used to be. And by that I mean like I'm here, I'm playing every battlefield. I'm playing SVS when I can. And I'm still thinking and interested in the game and I'm keeping up with all the mechanics, but it's not like the never ending fire that I had before for the game. There's a couple things I'm not really happy about with the game itself. But yeah, that's why I'm not back the same way. But I am back. Not in my old account. I'm in a smaller account now, and kind of a little bit more hands off, a little bit more chill, just enjoying the game. With my own time. And yeah, Evony time off. Evony was it's crazy how much time you get back, and by time I don't just mean like actual time, but like that you would have spent playing the game, but you get mental space back, which was insane for me because I had this obsession with the game, and I'm going to be honest about that. I was really obsessed, and um, I wanted RSP to be number one like really bad, and that was I would just think about strategies, what we could do, talk to people about in our team, like what we could do differently, and that was all gone. So it was a little bit of like a show hole, so to speak, in my life, and luckily I filled it with social activities with friends and reconnecting with some people and then work. So it was an interesting bit of time off, and in some ways I'm not back like I used to be. I'm still good. I think I'm still good at the game, but I'm just not crazy into it like I used to be. But yeah.
I love to hear that, and of course I'm gonna ask a question later on about that. I'm a little bit more into that, but I mean, you sound very like at peace. You sound
Yeah.
very relaxed, you know? Um,
Yeah, much more so.
Yeah, that's good. I definitely think that people, when they get too emotionally attached to anything on a game, that they have to take a break. And I don't mean that people have to quit, but just take a break, and for
Right.
however long you need to recharge. And obviously, you came back because there was something about it that you still like about it, right? So you
So my
came,
friends, I
yep.
mean, mechanics, like, yeah, there's a lot of different reasons that I still I think that's why most people play, right? It's a community.
Definitely. A community, and I think the brain challenge. I think there's a mental thing aspect to it as well, where when people
Yes.
want to constantly exercise their mind, there's something really cool about having, the mechanics and all that kind of stuff. So
No,
that's
I
cool.
I agree.
So I am going to bring something up that I normally probably wouldn't bring it up, but I know that people watching this are going to be like, "Oh, why did you gloss over this topic?" So we're we're, we're going to address this uh, topic face on. So we know the pink gem scandal happened, and the thing is I know that you rose above it. It seems like a lot of other alliances aren't recovering from it, and it seems like RSP has been really rebuilding back up. Do you think that if something like this happened again, would you, and you saw that it was like maybe one or two alliances doing it, how would you approach it like looking back in hindsight, like would you boycott those matches? Would you not engage with them? Would you know like is what do you think about in hindsight with the whole pink gem thing?
Yeah, it was a really strange situation to be in where um you know this option is out there and you know that it's being used by the people that you've been competing with or just generally like a good percentage of the game. There's a lot of big alliances that partook, and it just felt silly not to. And it's really no one in RSP's fault. I don't want to blame anyone else but myself because I'm the one who introduced it to the team after finding out about it. um but I mean, I would, going back, I would never do it again. I wouldn't have made the same decision that I did. I mean, it is what it is. I stand by it. I did. Likely be boycotting, like playing some of these teams, and to be frank, probably seeing how we can get it fixed,
Yeah,
rather than let it go on and on. And
right.
it really is a weird situation to be in, though, Baby Bear, because it's like you're very competitive. Like I'm competitive by nature, and like especially being like the most competitive in this game, like in that bracket.
Yep.
When
Yep.
when when you see this happening all around you, it's difficult to just pretend it's not happening or just accept that it's happening, and you're not part of it.
Right.
And there's also this portion of you which is not happy with the game because the game used to be a little bit more it was way more mechanic based, I think, than it is now. There's still good mechanics, but the idea of deciding what rally to send, swapping wall generals, like building defense in particular ways, refining, it's a little bit like thoughtless the way that we do battle sometimes. It's just just chunk them out with some really big rallies, doesn't matter how big. um, so I don't know. It just, I knew it was a money game, a little bit of a money game, a little bit more of a money game. After these recent updates and everything, so I just cared less about properly paying the company at that point. I was like, okay, so if everyone else is doing it,
Right.
yeah, I don't think I'm hurting the game too much. It seemed to be doing this fine. Let's go for it, and it is what it is.
Yeah. I totally understand that. And especially at your guys' level, it's so I don't even know how you guys compete at that level sometimes because it's so high bracket, so and high pressure. So definitely. I think I'm really happy that you came back and I'm happy that you addressed it.
Oh,
And I think that and of course, a lot of us in the community did YouTubes about you leaving because a lot of us learned so much from you. And it's not even just like us normal like C5 players. I'm talking about really, really big players learned a lot from you. So I just think that that is something to, like 1 month of something that happened can't, put a cloud over your whole Evony career, So, um,
I appreciate that.
yeah. So I just wanted to say that. And then you came back and you had some good words to say and you also addressed everything. So I just think that I want the YouTube community and everybody watching Evony to just know that like you're an outstanding player and you know what? Mistakes happen, things happen, but the fact is like you rise above, you came back, you show your resilience, you're rebuilding the team. It's just, you know, that's what life is. So
Hmm.
let's get
Absolutely.
let's get to the team building because this is one thing that I always think of when I think of RSP is your team building and recruiting is like no other because you guys are so approachable and you're in like every channel possible in Discord and line. And how do you guys determine, like, number one, how do you determine the people who join RSP? What qualities are you looking for? And did you originally start going into all these Discord channels just to recruit, or like, is that kind of just, who you guys are? You can just elaborate on all those questions.
Yeah, definitely. So I have to give credit originally to GEDC, who is my partner in crime in building RSP originally. He was the one who would constantly explain that, like, we need to build a team or go somewhere there is a team, because we can't really make people care. I think a lot of people are very friendly with people on their server, the alliances that they've been in, and the thing is, there's different levels of interest from person to person, and you can't force people to care more or be more competitive. You can't change personalities. So that's something that we understood, and we started recruiting from then on. And it wasn't an active effort originally, like by joining all the chats and like speaking to people and seeing who'd be interested. It wasn't really an active effort. It just slowly happened over time where people were a little alone, on their servers. I've talked about this like a long time ago. There's a lot of like island players, like people who are just really just coining and just they're alone and don't really have an interested team around them. We spoke to these types of people, and I think the biggest thing is interest. That's like the number one thing I look for, is how interested are they in the game, and then it's just do we vibe? Like, do we have good conversation? Like, are they taking everything too seriously, or are they relaxed? Like, just have like a little bit of a personality test, so to speak. And you never get the perfect group automatically. Like, it's
Yeah.
not, no one's like going to be 100% perfect. There's always things, but we all get along. We all have fun. I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, I think when you're deciding to build a team, you should if you're serious about the game, you should either decide to build a team or go somewhere there is already a team. A lot of people don't like leaving their investments, but it's like building a skyscraper in the middle of the desert rather than go to like Manhattan or something. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. That's if there are people who are in C5 who are interested in growing and stuff and really competitive, I recommend just start speaking to each other. Seeing who else from All Stars. This is where you meet a lot of people. Remain connected with your All Stars friends and see who's happy, who's not happy in the server, and just talk about the idea of possibly having someone come over, buy an account, whatever it happens to be. And then over time, you'll start, getting a good group together. I think that's what happens in every big team. Really, is just a lot of people just slowly sort of congregate to one place. And yeah, I think also, frankly, like I think the videos helped a little bit too. So I think
Yeah.
a lot of people, they saw how we played and how our calls are, the vibe that we have and everything. And then over time, it's like marketing in a way. It's like free marketing, and it's not intentional. I'm sharing content for fun and because I enjoy it. And genuinely, like there was a point when I was like hyper passionate about it, but out of that, it just resulted naturally where people who were interested would reach out. And just I think RSP is like three original members, and everyone else has kind of cycled in.
Wow. That's crazy. Who
Yeah,
who are the originals?
it's myself. GDC is finally back. I guess he left and came back, but he's back. And let's see who else. There's Ghoul. Ghoul's been there forever, but he's not really on the rally team. As far as the rally team's concerned, it's either from our merge or someone new.
Got it.
Um, and me and Gonzalo.
When did you pick up Oz?
Oz is like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Um, and that's the other thing. It's like he's been amazing
He
at
is.
at just being social. He's really a lovely person.
Yeah,
Him and Lori are like amazing, both of them.
they
I
are.
saw. I think you did an interview with her too, which
Yep.
is really sweet to see.
Yeah, I really have enjoyed talking to Ozzy and Lori, and they're just always really approachable and friendly in all the chats, and so that's always great. So you really were passionate about doing your YouTube channel, right? Like,
Absolutely,
yeah,
yeah.
I feel the same way. It's one of those things where there's like a creative expression for myself. I don't know about how you feel about it, but like there's just something really awesome about sharing like our gameplay with the community. I don't know what it is, but there's just something.
You're making something. You're
Yeah.
you're producing, like you're thinking, and it's your own thoughts, which is the beautiful thing. Because I think nowadays we spend a lot of time consuming, and
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with consuming, but to be a creator is the expression of you.
Yeah.
And it's an awesome thing. Yeah, so I think that's probably why you enjoy it, but it's cool. I like your content too, by the way. I've been watching you for a little while. I'm a little bit of a lurker, but you have a really nice voice. You can sing really well.
Thank you.
It's so cool. And it's very brave. It's super brave. It's one thing to talk in front of, like YouTube, but to sing, that's brave. But
I
uh
that you don't know how that it just that makes me so happy because you have to understand that I was on a server that had a bunch of people they used to make fun of my channel, like, all the time, and they used to make fun of me, and they bullied me and all that kinda stuff.
Oh
And
no, of
I
course not.
know, and but the thing is, like, I love doing it, like, I enjoy doing it so much, so I almost thought about not doing it anymore, like, I was like,
No, no,
"Okay, I'm gonna."
you can't. You got to be like a bird that is just, doing its thing and doesn't care if someone says "f you, bird" or throws a rock at you, or if even someone says like, "Hey, I love the song you're singing, bird." You just keep doing your thing. You keep being a
E
bird.
exactly, and then the thing is, like, I kept doing it, and then now look where we're at, like, I'm talking to
Exactly.
you, so I'm so excited about that.
I'm
But
just a guy. It's not an accomplishment. I mean, no offense, but yeah, I'm just a dude.
Um,
Um,
but let's talk about this because in the sense of like when you had a video, you talked about how your mind is such a powerful thing because I that video really resonated with me. And you were talking about kind of like it was almost kind of like a manifestation talk about how,
mhm.
you focus so much on Evony and then you guys succeeded. And then so how are you bringing that into like your real life? And have you seen like changes in your real life happen from that type of
Yeah,
mind power?
it was such an interesting experience. To like be that obsessed with the game, and then you don't really realize how powerful your thoughts are until you like see what the fruition into. And I know Ebony is just a game,
Yeah.
but I've noticed in the past as well, like I seem to have a bit of an obsessive personality where I really need to sink my teeth into something, and then when I do, I just kick ass at it.
Right.
And previously, I know I was like corporate America, did very, very well. Now recently I've been focusing a lot more on my business, and a lot of like thinking what the end result is going to be, what I'm going to do when I get to the end result, like how do I get there, and just having that on my mind, I started consuming more content about business, and then slowly um things start to build, and things are, thank God, knock on wood, like things are a lot more in place, I'd say, with my business and everything. And um, yeah, I really, really think, Baby Bear, that like your thoughts become your actions and the things you say, and they truly come into reality. Like they really do. You can do anything. You really can do anything. You just got to be, you have to really, really focus on it and believe it and try and not be upset about failing and just keep trying. And it's really just that. You have to want it really bad. You have to
Yeah.
want it really bad.
Mhm.
That's the key, because that's your fuel. That's your fuel. It's like, okay, I have this desire. This is my goal. You just can't let the negative thoughts win. You can't let the fear of failures win. You can't let the hurdles along the way win. And you just sort of you make it happen. I feel like you're like-minded in some ways, though.
Yeah, it was interesting because, I there was 2 things that I wanted to do when I was playing Evony outside of Evony. I wanted to
Hmm.
move by the beach, and I wanted to, work in gaming. So those are 2 things that, like, seemed impossible at the time. And,
Amazing goals.
and all I did for, like, 6 months was just apply to gaming studios, and of course, they all rejected me because, I don't have any gaming experience, but just think about, like, how we play Evony. We play it, like,
Hmm.
24/7, and we're making the content, so I was using all of this experience of making the content, and I was actually utilizing what I do on Evony through my phone because I do everything on my phone, and I was able
Right.
to utilize this for my actual work job. To
Oh,
actually
interesting.
yeah, to do creative, like, things for my work, and then, while I was, doing that, I just kept applying to gaming studios, and everyone's just like, "Oh, you don't have the experience," and then I got an interview, and I was, like, on the last interview, and they're just like, I could tell that the reason why I didn't get it was because I didn't have gaming experience, but then
Mhm.
literally a week later, I got a job at a really huge gaming studio. So
Hey,
yeah,
good for you.
I
That's
and
awesome.
it was really cool because I did know, the person that was needing this, role, but I had an interview with 4 other people with like, people on the development team and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And
No, don't discredit yourself there. That's amazing. Sorry,
and
continue.
I think the thing that got me in was that I said I'm a passionate mobile gamer. I do war strategy for 7 years and I have like almost 5,000 people who watch my streams. And they were
There
like,
you go.
"That's really cool." And that I feel like is what kinda cemented the deal. So, and then ironically, where I work at, I have to actually go there on site,
Mhm.
and it's right by the beach, so I get to see the beach. It's
There you
crazy.
go.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, your video though really resonated with me on that, and I want other people to hear it, and I'm gonna link your video because I think it's just so important even outside of
Oh,
Ebony.
thank you.
So,
I
anyways, I just
agree.
wanted to bring that up.
Cool. Thank you. Congrats though. That's freaking awesome.
Thank you. And so we'll go back to just like a little bit of Ebony stuff, but I know like you created the Little Siege, Big Siege. Are you the creator of that?
I'm not the creator.
Okay,
Actually, but I've made it famous, I
you
think.
did.
Yeah, I'm not the one who came up with it. Apparently it's Conan that came up with it. That's just the story I've heard. At least a
Okay.
little siege. Um,
Okay. So,
but
can you
yeah,
tell us, like, just in layman's terms of like what is Little Siege and what is Big Siege and what do you use it on?
yeah. So T11 is so a little siege is T11 siege. It's essentially 1K all layers, meaning every troop, every style of troop, every level, and then maxed out in T11 siege as many as you possibly can. Some people send 10,000 T12, 13, 14. I do that myself, and the reason is if the opponent has reinforcements of siege, your siege reigns outlayer their siege reign layers, so it'll survive a little bit longer. Like it'll help your march survive a little bit longer.
Hmm.
As it's specifically against reinforcements, it'll help in that regard. But yeah, T11 siege is a wonky level of siege, which hits T12 siege first. Obviously, it follows a siege rule. It hits T12 siege first, or any range in sight. There's one turn that happens in the battle where siege will hit the range. I think it's one. Some people think it's two. I think it's just one. And afterwards, it'll hit the highest level siege in range. And for some reason, it hits T12 first.
Hmm.
Now, and it's protected by T12, T13, T14, T15, and that's why T11 works is because it's hiding behind these layers above it. So while the enemy siege is distracted hitting all these layers, let's just say a 10-man march with multiple sets of T10, I'm sorry, T14, 13, 12 siege, your T11 go at it for a couple turns. And that's the reason it works. We've tried it with T9. T9 doesn't work too well. But so when you use T11, um, use it on larger targets. Like if you ever find a target where it's just like, how the hell are we going to approach this guy? T11 is always the first thing you want to do. For the most part, I'd say that I really can't think of a situation where you wouldn't. Um, especially those with bulky layers of top tier siege, T14, 13, 12, etc.
Hmm.
If they're really bulky up there, you want to send T11 first, just to because after T11 kills T12 or gets a few shots at T12, it goes for T14. So you'll
Hmm.
help thin out those top layers. And then typically we would send Big Siege afterwards, after we know that some of those top layers have been destroyed. Um, so and that's where Big Siege kind of comes in, or you can Big Siege off the bat if you can just straight up overpower the keep's upper siege layers. This is
Hmm.
also why I highly recommend building T13 for defense against siege rallies of any kind. Because sending a big siege into a keep that has 50, 60, 70 mil T13 siege, I know it's a stupid amount, but it will not do well because every single section of that march will instantly die to the defense that has a large amount of T13 siege. Um, yeah, so it's a little bit hard to explain because it makes sense in my head. I don't know if it makes sense
No,
me
it
saying
does. It's like a whole cloud has been lifted because I didn't
it.
understand it, and now I freaking understand it. It's crazy. So no, that's
Yeah,
amazing. Okay.
T11's like a little sniper. Like it gets to shoot for free a couple times because it's being protected by its big brothers. And when the big brothers fall, eventually the T11 will fall, but it gets some free hits. Like it goes for the 12. If there's a lot of 12, let's just say there's 20, 30 million 12, it'll stop halfway through and then it'll start hitting the 14. And
Wow.
you'll get a good amount of kills. If there's a small amount of 12s, let's just say 5 million, it'll kill the 12s and 11s too, and then it'll go up to the 14 because they're finally in range. What we think happens is the 14s and 13s are busy engaging with each other, so they don't they don't engage with the 12s or with the T11s, while the T11s and 12s are in the same bracket, and they do get to engage with each other. And yeah, that's just how it is. It's like a little sniper. I don't know how to else explain it, but it T11's awesome.
It
It
really
still
is.
works well. Yeah, it's cool. I
Awesome.
rambled a lot there. Holy crap, my
No, no,
bad.
no, that, like, was amazing. So, going on to the All-Star Dragons, because actually, I don't know if you remember this, but which All-Star Dragon is your favorite?
Layden, definitely. Layden's like it's like the classic. Okay, I think practically it depends, but I would say Layden's my favorite, um, because it used to be and still is, I think, to some degree, like a symbol of like being good at the game. Where if you had a Layden back in the day, K35 days, you had like the green spikes around your keep. It's like, oh, that dude's a gamer right there. Like he knows what he's doing. Uh, but if you're on a team, you want lead in and Colchin first for sure. If you have like a lot of rallies versus solos, if you're solos, you probably want Amaterasu first
Yeah.
before the others. Like if you don't have too big of a team, Amarasu's fantastic, great value, but I mean, Layden could be replaced by Nidhogg as well if you have that. But still, I would say, yeah, Layden's my favorite. What's your favorite?
Well, this was a conversation that I had with you, but I chose Amaterasu because when I was watching you, I saw all those squiggly dragons and it was like love at first sight and I wanted it. And you called it the JIZZ dragon, and now I can't
Yeah.
unsee that. But but
Oh my god.
but here's the thing. If I had to do it all over again, I definitely would have picked Colchian because that would be the
Colton, right?
next, because I was building my siege, March at the time. So for sure
Well,
Colchian.
you're going to All Stars again. Don't worry, and you're gonna get to pick again. So don't worry about
I hope so, but right now I'm thinking of moving. So kind
that.
of I'm in a holding spot right now. So
Okay. We'll
you
put
know
a
how
pause
it
on
is.
that.
Yeah, we'll put a pause
I
on
get
that.
it.
And
Yeah.
then is there one thing that you want the devs to know?
Yeah. Calm down, man. Like let people play the game. There's many competitors of Evany's that are very friendly to alts being allowed in the game because there is some revenue that's coming into the game because of alts, and they're direct competitors of Evany. Also, alts don't hurt coining as much as they think. They're thinking that if we ban the alts, people are going to have to spend for the RSS. That's absolutely not what's happening. You're creating an insane amount of friction between the community and the developers. And it just further widens the gap of how people feel about the developers of the game. I mean, there could be some logic towards their banning. They could be worried about these new high level bosses being farmed to oblivion. Um, I would say let it happen. If people want to buy stamina packs and support your company and that way and create some activity in the game, it's really not. I really don't think it's going to impact their revenue at the bottom at their bottom line or at the end of the day. But I would really just relax. Let people play the game. Stop with friction with players, man. Like you want people to like actually like you. I mean, it has a big impact when a gaming company is supported by the players. And it seems that everyone's in friction with Ebony. It's a game that we love, and in some ways we hate. But yeah, I don't know. That would be my advice to them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think for longevity and for retention, I think it's important for the
Hmm.
developers to really care about their gamers because, it's
Yeah.
easy for people to move on to another game. So, um,
Hmm.
what would you like to just tell the Evany players?
Um, have fun. Have fun and don't worry too much about like. I mean, if you're ambitious and competitive and your goal is to be like one of the best, like really join another team, join a bigger team, or get to recruiting. Really, really get at it. Don't expect people. It's like a random number generator as far as personality and interest whenever you spawn on a new server. Like you can't control that. It's out of your control. So if you do really want to play with interested people, go to a place where there are interested people. They congregate together. Get in the chat, start talking, see who you could find that's interested, or see which team you like. See if they have any openings. And don't worry about your skyscraper in the desert. It's okay. You're gonna have way more fun playing on a bigger team. Like you're gonna be surrounded by nerds just like you, and you're gonna have a blast. So yeah, you got the K40, great. Rebuilds from a K38 with in a good place, and really just watch your spending. I feel like some people, I've heard horror stories about people who've spent more than they should, like pawning jewelry, like all this crazy stuff, and really be careful. It's a game. It's a game. Games are supposed to be $60 and then you own it. It's not supposed to be however much it is, and then thank God, a lot of us have the budget to be able to afford it the way we do, but still at the same time, just understand it is a game, a game.
Yep.
So that would be my advice.
That's great advice, and to add on to that point with Evony, the way that it is with the devaluation and just how they are going into the future, it's really stupid actually to spend a lot of money on something that is
Mhm.
not new updates. Like it's better to spend smaller amounts, but doing it consistently after
Mhm.
each update rather than spending a whole bunch all at once, and now
Yeah.
you're not benefiting from all the new things that come out. So that
Great
is
point.
something. Um, so we have one last question for you. What would you like
Mhm.
people to know about you outside of Ebony?
Uh, I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude that I'm just a guy that got really, really into the game and believed that, I could do it and be the best. And my successes in the game is just that. It's just I did well in the game. Um, but about me, I don't know. I run an e-commerce business, e-commerce and marketing. We do apparel, mostly print and ship on behalf of our own stores, and we ship on behalf of other customers. So if you're in e-commerce, if you are in marketing, and you sell apparel online, if you're looking for vendors, I could help out with that. But otherwise, I'm really just another guy. Like there's nothing. I don't want to toot my own horn or anything. If you want to know one, if I can say one thing about RSP, just really know it's not just me. Like and especially nowadays, RSP success is not carried on my back. It's carried on everyone else that's on the team. It's them more than me. And Lori, Death, Oz, I mean Gonzalo, Dubs. Like there's so many people that are not in the public, as the way I am,
Yeah.
that really make it happen. So it's truly a team thing, and I'm just a small part. I just set the rallies. That's all I do.
Okay, because
Um,
I thought you were like maybe a king in real life. I think there are some like kings that play these games. So.
let's just say, actually, there are princes and there are kings. You're right. There are some high up people playing the game, but we could pretend that. Yeah, I am a king in real life. Let's just pretend
Well, this has
that.
been such an awesome interview. I really appreciate you taking the time. I honestly, like, thank you. And I just wanted to make sure people knew you were back and what you said about your team. Like, I have met a majority of those people in RSP, and I can only echo those sentiments that you're saying. They're just really awesome people. So you guys have really built an amazing team, and I'm really, really, really so happy to get to interview you. So thank you so
No,
much.
no, thank you as well. I'm very humbled, and I feel very glad that I'm someone to be interviewed. So it's a really good feeling, and I'm still gonna be a silent lurker, follower of your channel, and hear you sing and everything. Keep it up, and yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll talk
thanks,
to
baby
you
bear.
later. All right. Bye.
Bye bye.